We all encounter them, the toxic individuals whose presence seems to drain the life from the room, leaving you exhausted, frustrated, or even questioning your worth. Whether it's a colleague, a friend, or even a family member, toxic people have an uncanny ability to throw off your peace and disturb your emotional balance. It's like they have a shadow that follows you around, casting darkness on your day, no matter how bright it started. But what exactly makes someone toxic? It's the constant negativity, the manipulation, the judgment, the need to control, and the emotional games. It's as if their energy is infectious, and before you know it, you're caught in their web of dysfunction. You might wonder, why does it feel like I'm constantly affected by them? The truth is, toxic people don't just influence our moods, they can affect our thoughts, our decisions, and our overall well-being. And that's where the challenge lies. How do we protect ourselves from this negative energy without losing our peace, without becoming bitter, or letting it consume us? This is where Stoicism can serve as a lifeline. Stoicism isn't about avoiding or ignoring the reality of toxic people. It's about changing how we react to them, how we maintain our inner calm in the face of their chaos. The goal is not to fight back with the same negativity, but to rise above it with wisdom, control, and resilience. The Stoics teach us that we can't control others, but we can control our reactions. So how do we maintain our sense of self when we're surrounded by toxicity? How do we protect our peace and grow stronger in the process? In this video, we'll dive into 15 powerful Stoic strategies that will help you handle toxic people, protect your mental and emotional health, and maintain your peace, no matter how difficult they may be. By the end of this video, you'll have a toolkit of wisdom, resilience, and strategies that will empower you to deal with toxic people in a way that aligns with your values and inner strength.
Number 1. Strength and perspective. Have you ever caught yourself feeling utterly defeated after an encounter with a toxic person? It's as if their negative energy seeps into your soul, leaving you drained and wondering what went wrong. But here's the Stoic secret. The power of your perspective can transform these situations entirely. The Stoics believe that it's not the external events or people that disturb us, but our perception of them. When you reframe your perspective, you realize that toxic people aren't the root cause of your emotional turmoil. Your response to them is. It's like looking at a painting from a different angle. Suddenly, you see things in a new light, and the entire picture shifts. Instead of feeling victimized by the negativity someone projects, try to see them with a different mindset. They may be acting out of their own inner turmoil, insecurities, or personal struggles. By understanding this, you disempower their ability to hurt you. You no longer take their words or actions personally. Instead, you recognize that they are a reflection of their own battles, not a judgment of your worth. By reframing the way you look at toxic people, you take back control of the situation. It's like realizing that you have a remote control to your emotions, and you get to choose the channel. This doesn't mean excusing their behavior or ignoring the damage they might cause. It means understanding that how you respond, how you choose to interpret their actions, is entirely in your hands. This shift in mindset allows you to break free from the cycle of emotional reactions. It's no longer about why are they doing this to me, but instead, how can I remain centered and calm despite this? When you begin to see toxic people as opportunities for growth, your emotional resilience strengthens. Instead of feeling triggered, you start to feel empowered, knowing that you are the one who gets to control your inner peace. Number 2. Guard your peace. We all know the feeling. Someone's toxic behavior starts to drain your energy and you can sense your peace slipping away. It's as if they have a secret power to undermine your sense of self, leaving you frazzled and overwhelmed. The solution? Set clear boundaries. Boundaries aren't walls meant to shut others out. They're markers, declarations of what you will and won't tolerate, a clear signpost of where your emotional space begins and ends. Think of them as the foundation of your inner peace. Without them, you're vulnerable to the constant tides of negativity that others might try to impose on you. The Stoics taught that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control how we allow them to affect us. Setting boundaries is the Stoic way of saying, I have control over my emotional responses, and I won't let external forces dictate my inner world. It's about understanding that it's your responsibility to protect your mental, emotional, and physical space. When dealing with toxic people, be it in personal relationships, at work, or in social situations, your first step should be to determine where your limits lie. What are you willing to accept? What crosses the line? You may need to communicate these boundaries to others, but even if they don't acknowledge or respect them, your peace isn't for sale. Sometimes, simply knowing where your boundaries are will give you the strength to remain calm and unaffected by others' negativity. There's also strength in silence when a toxic person oversteps. You don't have to engage in every conversation or argue your point endlessly. By withdrawing, you silently demonstrate that you are not an easy target. Setting boundaries isn't about confrontation, it's about standing firm in your self-worth and knowing when to walk away. Remember, your peace is sacred. By setting healthy boundaries, you allow yourself to stay grounded and focused on what truly matters. Toxic people may try to manipulate, overwhelm, or emotionally exhaust you, but with firm boundaries in place, you keep your peace intact and show the world that you decide how you're treated, not them. Number 3. Don't take it personally. How many times have you found yourself questioning, "Why is this happening to me?" when faced with a toxic person? Their words sting, their behavior cuts deep, and you wonder why it feels so personal. But here's the truth, it's not about you. This insight is central to Stoic philosophy. Toxic people act out of their own unresolved issues, their frustrations, and their inner turmoil. When you realize this, you stop taking their behavior personally. It's not a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of their internal battles. Detachment is one of the most powerful tools you can use when interacting with difficult individuals. It's not about coldness or indifference, it's about emotional clarity. Think of it as an anchor in a storm. You remain grounded and unaffected by the turbulent waves of someone else's behavior. The Stoics believed that we should focus only on what we can control: our actions, our reactions, and our thoughts. When you detach yourself emotionally from the chaos, you free yourself from the toxic influence of others. Imagine you're standing in a crowd and a person is shouting insults at you. If you believe those insults are personal, you'll react with anger, hurt, or defensiveness. But if you realize the person is shouting at the air, at their own frustrations, their words lose their power over you. Detachment allows you to step back from the situation and observe it without emotional involvement. You can then respond with calmness and clarity without falling into their emotional trap. This doesn't mean you become emotionally numb or disconnected from the world. It means you understand that you are not the cause of someone else's actions. When you choose to detach, you recognize that how someone behaves is not a reflection of who you are. Their negativity cannot taint your sense of self unless you allow it. By practicing detachment, you also protect your energy. You no longer waste time and emotional resources trying to fix someone else's behavior. Instead, you redirect that energy towards what truly matters: your own growth, peace, and happiness. Remember, when faced with toxic people, don't take it personally. You are not responsible for their actions, and you certainly don't need to internalize their negativity. Instead, use the power of detachment to protect your peace and continue on your path, undeterred by the distractions they create. Number 4. Unlock empathy. Dealing with toxic people doesn't always require confrontation or distancing yourself. Sometimes the most powerful tool you can use is empathy. Now you might be thinking, why should I empathize with someone who is clearly behaving badly? But hear me out. Empathy doesn't mean condoning their actions. It means understanding their struggles. It's about seeing beyond their toxic behavior and recognizing the pain or frustration that might be driving them. The Stoics believe that everything happens for a reason, and this includes the way people treat us. When you understand that toxic individuals are often acting from their own unresolved emotions, insecurities, or past trauma, it allows you to approach them with a sense of compassion instead of defensiveness. You no longer react with anger or frustration, but instead you see their actions through a lens of understanding. Empathy doesn't mean you let their negativity slide or tolerate poor behavior. Rather, it allows you to disarm the situation. When you respond to a toxic person with empathy, you create a space where their aggression or negativity has nowhere to land. Instead of engaging in a power struggle, you create an environment for a more meaningful conversation, or you simply choose to walk away without giving their behavior any more fuel. Imagine this. Someone lashes out at you, and your immediate instinct is to retaliate. But instead of reacting in kind, you pause for a moment. You ask yourself, what's going on with them? Why are they upset? By considering their perspective, you might realize that they're not angry with you. They're angry with themselves or with their own circumstances. Maybe they're projecting their internal struggles onto you, and this insight can help you remain calm, grounded, and unshaken by their words or actions. It's also important to remember that empathy doesn't mean you have to sacrifice your own boundaries. You can empathize with someone and still stand firm in your values. You can understand where they're coming from without allowing them to walk all over you. In fact, showing empathy can help you set boundaries in a way that is respectful, yet firm. It's not about taking on their burdens, but about offering understanding while maintaining your sense of self. When you embrace empathy, you open the door to the possibility of peaceful resolution. You might find that the toxic person softens, or at the very least, you can respond to them in a way that doesn't escalate the situation. By understanding their perspective, you free yourself from the need to fight or defend. In this way, empathy not only strengthens your own peace of mind, but also fosters more constructive interactions with others. Next time you encounter a toxic individual, try to shift your perspective. Instead of seeing them as an enemy to defeat, see them as a person in pain. You might be surprised by how much easier it is to navigate the encounter with empathy rather than resentment. Number 5. Control your emotions. When you encounter toxic individuals, one of the most important things you can do is retain control over your emotions. This may sound easier said than done, especially when someone is pushing your buttons, but it's a crucial skill that the Stoics mastered, to control what they could and let go of what they couldn't. And what can you control? Your reaction. Toxic people often try to manipulate or provoke an emotional response from you, whether through criticism, guilt, or aggression. It's their way of gaining control over you. But when you allow your emotions to be controlled by others, you've handed them the keys to your peace. Think of your emotional state like a castle. You are the gatekeeper, and it's up to you whether or not you let anyone inside. Imagine that toxic person is hurling insults or acting out in a way that triggers anger or frustration within you. You feel the heat rising, your heart starts to race, and your body tenses up. In that moment, you have a choice. You can either react immediately, giving in to the rush of emotion, or you can take a deep breath, pause, and reflect. The Stoics taught that true strength lies in choosing how we respond to the world around us, not simply reacting to it. Guarding your inner peace doesn't mean you suppress your feelings or ignore your emotions. It means you acknowledge your feelings without letting them dictate your actions. When you feel anger or hurt rising, recognize it for what it is, a natural emotional response. But don't let it take the wheel. Instead, ask yourself, what do I really want out of this situation? Your answer might be to stay calm, protect your peace, or set boundaries. Sometimes the most powerful response is silence. By not reacting to provocations, you retain your power and refuse to let the toxic person dictate your mood. Silence in this case isn't passive, it's a sign of strength and control. When you don't allow yourself to be drawn into their negativity, you send a message that you are unaffected by their attempts to disrupt your peace. It's important to remember that when you control your emotions, you also create a safe space for yourself. You stop the toxic individual from dragging you into their emotional storm. Instead, you remain centered, calm, and rooted in your own sense of inner peace. This not only makes the encounter more manageable, but also gives you the strength to handle whatever comes next. Take a moment to reflect. How often do you allow toxic people to affect your emotional state? Are there situations where you've let their negativity steal your peace? Remember, you have the power to decide how you respond. By practicing emotional control, you protect your mental and emotional well-being from the storm of negativity others may bring. Number 6, turn negativity into growth. When you're faced with toxic people, it can feel like you're walking through a dense fog. Every interaction seems unclear, frustrating, and emotionally draining. But there's an incredibly powerful approach that can turn these situations around: adopting a solution-oriented mindset. Rather than focusing on the problem, the toxic behavior, you shift your focus to what you can do about it. A solution-oriented mindset is rooted deeply in Stoicism. The Stoics understood that while we cannot control the actions of others, we always have the ability to control how we respond. The key is to view every challenge as an opportunity to learn, grow, and refine our character. So the next time you're confronted with someone toxic, ask yourself, how can I handle this in a way that helps me grow? This approach requires a bit of mental reframing. Rather than getting bogged down by frustration or resentment, focus on the steps you can take to move forward. For example, if a toxic person is manipulating the situation to provoke a response, instead of reacting emotionally, ask yourself, how can I steer this conversation toward a productive resolution? This allows you to stay calm, find clarity, and act with purpose instead of reacting out of anger. A solution-oriented mindset also involves being creative in how you deal with toxic interactions. It's like playing a game of chess, thinking ahead, anticipating the moves of the person in front of you, and responding strategically without losing your cool. In a heated conversation, this might mean pausing before speaking, listening carefully to what's being said, and finding a way to de-escalate the situation rather than engaging in the chaos. Moreover, adaptability plays a big role in navigating toxic people. Being adaptable doesn't mean compromising your core values or bending to others' will, but it does mean being flexible in how you approach a challenge. Like a tree that stands tall in the storm, your strength lies in your ability to bend without breaking. Toxic encounters may test your patience and resilience, but with a solution-oriented mindset, you become more flexible in how you respond, making you stronger in the long run. Think of it this way. When you're able to respond to toxicity with resilience, you not only protect your peace, but you also grow stronger, more empathetic, and more capable of handling similar situations in the future. Each challenge is an opportunity to improve your emotional intelligence, sharpen your communication skills, and deepen your understanding of yourself. So, next time you find yourself in a situation with a toxic person, rather than focusing on the problem, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I handle this with wisdom and grace? By adopting this mindset, you turn a difficult situation into an opportunity for growth, ultimately gaining the power to transform negative experiences into moments of personal development. Number 7. Pick your battles. Not every battle is worth fighting, the ancient wisdom goes. In the realm of dealing with toxic people, this advice is more relevant than ever. Picture it like navigating a maze in the dark. You're bound to bump into obstacles, but you don't have to tackle every single one head-on. The real power lies in knowing which battles are worth your time and energy. With toxic people, arguments often feel like an endless cycle. They push your buttons, trying to get a reaction, and before you know it, you're trapped in a pointless back and forth. But here's the truth. Not every disagreement or confrontation is worth your peace. Sometimes the best response is no response at all. Silence can be more powerful than any sharp word or retort. When you choose not to engage in an argument, you take away the control that the toxic person is hoping to gain over you. They may want to provoke you, but by remaining calm and refusing to react emotionally, you disrupt their game. It's not about ignoring the issue. It's about choosing to maintain your peace rather than getting drawn into an emotional exchange that drains you. Think of it like this. You wouldn't pour fuel on a fire hoping to put it out, right? Arguing with a toxic person is like adding more fuel to the flames. It only intensifies the situation. Instead, take a step back and consider how much energy you're willing to invest in the argument. Ask yourself, is this really worth my time and peace of mind? Often you'll find that the answer is no. Choosing not to argue doesn't mean you're weak or afraid of confrontation. In fact, it's a sign of strength, the strength to walk away, to choose your peace over the need to win a battle. It's a form of emotional intelligence that allows you to protect your energy while still upholding your boundaries. And don't be fooled by the idea that arguing will change someone's behavior. People who engage in toxic behavior aren't usually open to reason. No amount of arguing will shift their mindset. Instead of trying to change their perspective, shift your focus to what you can control. your response. Engage in conversations, not arguments. Ask reflective questions to redirect the focus, encouraging them to think differently without feeding into the toxicity. Patience becomes your shield here. By choosing when to respond and when to stay silent, you maintain your dignity and power, not getting swept up in unnecessary drama. And when you do engage, do it with empathy. Understanding where the other person is coming from doesn't mean condoning their behavior. It means recognizing their humanity and choosing to respond thoughtfully, not emotionally. In the end, every encounter with a toxic person is an opportunity to decide whether it's worth investing your time and energy. You don't have to win every battle. Instead, focus on winning the peace. Remember, your energy is precious. Spend it on what truly matters and let go of the rest. Number 8. Spot fake friendliness. We've all encountered that person who smiles brightly at you, yet something feels off. Their words may be sweet, but their actions speak a different language. It's what we call false cordiality, a show of kindness that hides something far less genuine. The worst part? This kind of behavior can be a subtle form of manipulation, designed to deceive and control. The key to dealing with false cordiality is awareness. When someone pretends to be your friend while harboring a hidden agenda, it's like walking on eggshells. The smile on their face might seem sincere, but their true intentions are often revealed through subtle cues. A smile that doesn't reach the eyes, arms crossed tightly across their chest, or an overly exaggerated tone. These are just a few signs that someone's kindness may not be as pure as it appears. Body language doesn't lie. It's a powerful tool to help us detect insincerity. Pay attention to the little details. How do they act when no one's watching? Do they treat others differently when they think you're not around? These patterns often reveal more than any carefully chosen words ever could. If someone's outward actions seem inconsistent with their words, trust your gut. Those discrepancies are usually a red flag. Another important clue is the energy they bring into a conversation. A voice dripping with sweetness but lacking warmth, or an awkward laugh that doesn't match the flow of the conversation, can signal a deeper motive. These are the subtle hints that reveal their true nature, often one of manipulation or self-interest. It's easy to be blinded by someone's outward charm, but remember, actions speak louder than words. The trick to dealing with false cordiality is not to immediately jump to conclusions or react defensively. Instead, stay grounded and keep your focus on consistency. True character is revealed in actions over time. Is their behavior consistently positive, or does it change when the spotlight's off? Is their kindness genuine, or does it seem like they're putting on a performance? By observing these patterns, you can protect yourself from falling prey to toxic relationships disguised as friendly interactions. You'll begin to see through the facades, recognizing when someone is more interested in controlling you than truly supporting you. It's not just about safeguarding yourself, though. Recognizing false cordiality is also about creating space for authentic, meaningful connections. When you're able to discern insincerity, you free up room for genuine relationships to flourish. You're no longer distracted by empty gestures. Instead, you focus on building connections that are rooted in trust and authenticity. Next time you sense something's off in an interaction, don't dismiss it. Trust your intuition. Pay attention to the signs and observe the patterns. Not every handshake is a sign of friendship, and not every smile is one of goodwill. By learning to detect false cordiality, you can protect your peace and avoid the pitfalls of toxic relationships. Number 9. See beyond toxic behavior. Toxic people can sometimes be difficult to understand. Their words and actions may leave us feeling hurt, frustrated, or even confused. But one powerful tool at our disposal is empathy, the ability to see beyond their behavior and understand what might be driving it. Empathy doesn't mean excusing poor behavior or condoning their actions. It simply means recognizing that everyone has a story, and sometimes that story involves pain, insecurity, or past trauma. When we practice empathy, we're able to look past the toxicity and focus on the deeper cause of their actions. This shift in perspective allows us to respond with more understanding and less emotional reactivity. Now you might be thinking, How can I empathize with someone who is treating me badly? That's a fair question. Empathy is not about accepting mistreatment. It's about recognizing that toxic behavior often stems from inner struggles that the other person might be battling. This recognition doesn't make their behavior okay, but it gives us a clearer view of the person behind the behavior, someone who might be struggling, projecting their own pain, or simply acting out of fear. When you choose empathy over anger, you shift the dynamic. You stop reacting to the toxicity with defensiveness or frustration, and instead you respond with calmness and clarity. By doing so, you not only protect your own peace, but you also keep your integrity intact. You refuse to let their negativity dictate how you feel. Empathy also provides us with the power of perspective. It allows us to see people as more than just their worst moments. Even though someone might be toxic or negative in one encounter, it doesn't mean they are incapable of growth or change. By understanding their struggles, we open up the possibility of transforming our interaction from one of conflict to one of connection. However, empathy isn't just for them, it's for you too. When you choose to empathize with a toxic person, you're not just showing them grace, but you're also giving yourself a chance to remain centered and composed. You're refusing to let their behavior dictate your emotional state. This self-regulation is one of the most important aspects of personal growth. And here's the most powerful truth about empathy. It helps us break the cycle of negativity. When we approach toxic individuals with empathy, we model a higher standard of behavior. We demonstrate that it's possible to respond with kindness, patience, and understanding, even in the face of adversity. By choosing empathy, we rise above the toxicity and set the tone for healthier, more meaningful interactions. So, next time you encounter someone who feels toxic or difficult, pause and reflect. What might they be going through? What is driving their behavior? This doesn't mean you have to tolerate mistreatment, but understanding their struggles can help you navigate the situation with more wisdom, compassion, and inner peace. Empathy helps us see beyond the surface and recognize the person beneath the behavior. In doing so, we strengthen ourselves and create more harmonious interactions, no matter how challenging the situation might be. Number 10. Choosing silence. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do when confronted with toxic behavior is say nothing at all. It might sound counterintuitive, but silence is often the most strategic choice in handling difficult people. Non-reaction is an art, and when practiced wisely, it can save you energy, time, and emotional stress. When a toxic individual tries to provoke or manipulate you, their goal is often to get a reaction. They want to see you upset, defensive, or drawn into their drama. By refusing to give them the satisfaction of a reaction, you take away their power over you. Think of it as playing a game of chess, where silence is your winning move. You remain poised and unshaken, and in doing so, you neutralize their attempts to disturb your peace. This doesn't mean being passive or indifferent to the situation. It's about choosing not to engage in a back and forth that only drains your energy. You are not surrendering your voice. Rather, you are asserting your strength by maintaining your composure. When you remain silent, you are refusing to let their negativity define your emotional state. In the world of Stoicism, the ability to control your reactions is paramount. We cannot control the behavior of others, but we can control how we respond. Choosing silence over confrontation allows you to preserve your peace and remain focused on what truly matters. When you stay calm in the face of provocation, you embody the Stoic ideal of emotional resilience. Silence also provides space for reflection. It gives you time to process the situation with clarity, without being swept away by emotional impulses. Instead of immediately reacting, you take a step back and evaluate how you want to respond, if at all. This act of pausing creates a gap between stimulus and response. A gap in which you hold the power to choose a response that serves your highest good. Moreover, silence can be a powerful tool of protection. By choosing not to engage in toxic exchanges, you set a clear boundary. You communicate, without saying a word, that you are not interested in participating in their negativity. This non-verbal boundary often speaks louder than any argument or defense could. But remember, silence is not the same as avoidance. You can still acknowledge the situation without getting caught up in it. Choosing silence is not about ignoring the problem, but about asserting your control over how much of your energy you give to the situation. You refuse to engage in a way that might escalate the negativity, and instead you protect your emotional well-being by remaining calm and composed. So the next time you face a toxic person or situation, ask yourself, is this worth my time and energy? If the answer is no, then practice the power of non-reaction. Choose silence and preserve your peace. In the end, you'll find that silence can be your most powerful response, a way to protect your inner calm and maintain control over your emotional landscape. Number 11. Seeing beyond the surface. Empathy is a superpower that can transform even the most difficult interactions with toxic people. While it might seem counterproductive to empathize with someone who's toxic, the Stoic approach teaches us to go beyond the surface and understand that every person we meet is carrying their own burdens, struggles, and internal battles. When you're dealing with someone toxic, it's easy to see them as the enemy. But what if we looked at them not as opponents, but as people struggling with their own emotional chaos? Empathy allows you to step into their shoes, if only for a moment, to understand the underlying causes of their behavior. Often, toxic people act out of their own hurt, insecurity, or frustration. By recognizing this, you open the door to compassion, which can diffuse their negativity without requiring you to absorb it. Empathy doesn't mean agreeing with or excusing toxic behavior. It means understanding that behind their hostility, there's often fear, pain, or unmet needs. This perspective doesn't excuse their actions, but it allows you to respond from a place of understanding rather than defensiveness. You begin to see their behavior as a reflection of their internal struggles, not a reflection of who you are. By choosing empathy over judgment, you also regain control over your emotional response. Instead of becoming angry or hurt by their actions, you can approach the situation with a sense of curiosity and calm. Rather than letting their negativity pull you in, you can look at it objectively and ask yourself, what is driving their behavior? How can I respond in a way that doesn't escalate the situation? The Stoics understood the importance of detaching from judgment and reacting based on understanding rather than emotion. Empathy allows you to meet toxic behavior with a calm and measured response, reducing the emotional charge that often accompanies these encounters. When you choose empathy, you protect your peace and you allow the other person's negativity to pass by without having to internalize it. But empathy doesn't always require you to engage directly with the toxic person. Sometimes it's about offering them kindness from a distance, understanding that their behavior is not about you, but about what they're going through. This shift in perspective frees you from taking their negativity personally. By practicing empathy, you also begin to model the kind of behavior that fosters connection rather than conflict. It allows you to rise above the toxic interaction and show that you are stronger than the negativity directed your way. As you develop this skill, you'll find that you can maintain your peace even in the most trying of circumstances, while still recognizing the humanity in others. Number 12. Recognizing false cordiality. Toxic people often hide behind a mask of kindness, making it challenging to identify their true intentions. False cordiality is like a social facade, a smile or a pleasant greeting that masks underlying negativity or manipulation. The Stoics were keenly aware that not everyone who extends a hand of friendship is doing so with pure intentions. Being able to recognize false cordiality is a critical skill in protecting your peace and maintaining emotional integrity. How do you spot false cordiality? It's all about paying attention to the small details. A person who's pretending to be friendly might greet you warmly, but speak with an underlying tone of condescension, or they may offer compliments that seem just a little too rehearsed. Look for inconsistencies between what they say and what they do. Actions, after all, always speak louder than words. A person who smiles but avoids eye contact or whose body language is defensive, arms crossed, tense posture, might be projecting friendliness while harboring ulterior motives. False cordiality isn't always so obvious. Sometimes it's the subtle, passive-aggressive comments or the underhanded compliments that reveal the true nature of a person. These seemingly innocent remarks might be veiled attempts to undermine you, make you doubt yourself, or subtly push your buttons. If you find that the energy around a person feels off, too polite, too perfect. It's worth taking a step back to reassess their intentions. The Stoic practice of discernment teaches us to observe without becoming entangled in others' emotional games. It's not about being suspicious or paranoid, but about maintaining awareness of the signals people send and questioning whether their actions match their words. Cultivating discernment enables you to navigate these situations without getting swept up in false pretenses. What happens when you detect false cordiality? You don't need to confront the person or call them out. Instead, you set clear boundaries. Recognize that their behavior is not about you, and therefore you don't need to absorb it. When you maintain your composure in the face of false cordiality, you remain in control. You don't allow their superficial friendliness to throw you off balance or into confusion. Remember, you don't have to engage with every friendly interaction. Choosing to protect your peace means sometimes stepping back and not allowing false cordiality to manipulate your emotions or distract you from your values. The Stoics believed that we cannot control the behavior of others, but we can always control our response. Recognizing false cordiality allows you to respond with wisdom, neutrality, and grace, ensuring that you are never caught off guard by a friendly face with hidden motives. By mastering this skill, you guard your energy against manipulation while maintaining a sense of dignity. You can navigate these situations with clarity, avoiding unnecessary conflict and preserving your emotional well-being. And remember, the real strength lies not in reacting to the false smiles, but in choosing your interactions wisely and knowing when to walk away from insincerity. Number 13. Choose your battles wisely. In a world filled with noise and conflict, choosing your battles wisely is one of the most powerful tools you can have when dealing with toxic people. Imagine life as a series of encounters, each offering a choice. Will you engage in every argument, or will you decide which ones truly deserve your energy? Not every disagreement is worth your time or emotional investment. Some conflicts are like dead ends, draining your energy without leading to resolution or growth. When it comes to toxic individuals, engaging in every argument is like fueling a fire that doesn't need to burn. The Stoic approach teaches us to conserve our energy for the battles that matter most. Instead of reacting impulsively to every slight or provocation, take a moment to pause and evaluate the situation. Does this argument serve a purpose? Is there a possibility of understanding, or is it simply an opportunity for conflict to escalate? The Stoics were experts at avoiding unnecessary turmoil, practicing restraint and self-awareness to avoid being swept up in emotions that didn't align with their principles. When you decide not to engage in an argument, it's not about backing down or conceding defeat. It's a demonstration of strength and wisdom, knowing that your peace is more important than winning a petty battle. Silence can be louder than words, and choosing not to respond is often the most powerful response you can give. This doesn't mean you avoid every challenge, or that you let people walk all over you. It means being discerning about where you invest your energy. You can stand your ground with grace, using patience and empathy to de-escalate potentially toxic situations. And when you recognize that an argument is going nowhere, you can simply choose to disengage, without guilt, without regret. The key is understanding that you can't control other people's behavior, but you can control how you respond. Instead of meeting negativity with negativity, choose a more constructive path. Respond with calm, or choose not to respond at all. Every moment of engagement is a chance to reinforce your values and protect your peace. You don't need to win every battle to keep your dignity intact. By practicing this art of avoiding unnecessary arguments, you prevent yourself from becoming ensnared in a cycle of conflict and negativity. You free yourself to focus on what truly matters: your own growth, relationships that nourish you, and the goals that drive you forward. Being a Stoic isn't about avoiding conflict altogether. It's about knowing which conflicts are worth fighting and which ones are best left alone. Number 14. Practice gratitude. When you're tangled in the web of negativity woven by toxic people, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, like you're drowning in their energy. It's as if their negativity clouds your thoughts and takes away your ability to see anything good. But here's a powerful Stoic secret. The antidote to their toxicity isn't fighting back or even trying to change them. It's shifting your focus entirely. Gratitude is your shield, your light in the storm. Instead of allowing toxic people to dictate your emotions, you have the power to choose where your attention goes. This is where the practice of gratitude comes in. It's a mindset shift that helps you break free from the grip of negativity and reframe your situation. Think about it for a moment. When you focus on the good, on what's right in your life, it's like you're turning the dial on the negativity surrounding you, making it quieter and less intrusive. Instead of getting lost in how someone's rude comments or manipulative behavior makes you feel, you start to tune into what truly matters. The beauty of your life, the kindness of those who support you, the small wins you have each day. This isn't about ignoring or pretending the toxic people don't affect you. It's about choosing to focus on what's in your control, the good you have in your life. Gratitude is more than just saying thank you for the obvious blessings. It's about training your mind to seek the silver lining in every situation, even when facing difficult people. Each day, take a moment to reflect on what you're thankful for, no matter how small. Maybe it's a peaceful morning, a loved one's smile, or simply the ability to breathe in fresh air. When you begin to practice gratitude consistently, it becomes a natural response. You'll notice that your mind no longer dwells on the toxic behavior of others. Instead, you'll find yourself lifted by the things that matter most: your health, your growth, your journey. Think of gratitude as a mental exercise. Like a muscle, it gets stronger the more you use it. The more you consciously choose to reflect on the positive, the less power toxic people will have over your emotional state. It's not about denying reality, but about controlling your reaction to it. By embracing gratitude, you're not only protecting your peace, but also creating a powerful force field around your mind. You're teaching yourself to rise above the chaos and stay focused on what truly makes life worthwhile. And in doing so, you become less affected by toxic people and more connected to the joy and fulfillment that you deserve. Number 15, the Stoic path to inner calm. In a world that's constantly demanding your attention, it's easy to lose sight of the most important thing you possess: your peace of mind. When dealing with toxic individuals, it's crucial to protect this inner tranquility, not just as a reaction to external negativity, but as a practice you cultivate every day. The Stoic approach isn't about ignoring the chaos around you, but learning to control how you respond. We cannot always control the people we encounter or the challenges life throws at us, but we always have power over how we choose to react. The key lies in detaching your peace from others' actions. Picture your peace as a fortress, strong, unyielding, and protected from outside forces. Toxic individuals might try to breach that wall with criticism, negativity, or manipulation, but if you've fortified your inner calm, they can't penetrate it. It's not about building walls that isolate you from the world, but about having the wisdom to recognize when to engage and when to walk away. Your peace is precious, and not every battle is worth fighting. Learning to disengage from unnecessary drama or conflict is a cornerstone of Stoic wisdom. It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of toxic behavior, especially if you feel provoked or misunderstood. But remember, your emotional state doesn't have to be dictated by someone else's actions. When you maintain a steady mind, you are better equipped to handle difficult situations and preserve your peace. By practicing self-awareness and emotional intelligence, you learn to identify when an interaction is costing you your peace. It might be hard at first, especially if you've been accustomed to reacting to every negative comment or behavior. But with time, you can train yourself to pause before responding, choosing to act from a place of inner calm rather than reacting impulsively. There's power in recognizing that your peace is non-negotiable. Protecting it doesn't make you weak, it makes you resilient. And this isn't about suppressing emotions, it's about choosing which emotions you allow to control you. The Stoic practice of mindfulness helps you stay grounded, even when others are trying to pull you into their storm. Remember, peace is not a passive state, but an active choice. Every time you refuse to let someone disturb your serenity, you're asserting your inner strength. By protecting your peace, you don't just shield yourself from negativity, but you also set an example for others, showing them that no matter what life throws your way, you can remain calm, focused, and unshaken. So, reflect for a moment. How often do you let someone else's words or actions steal your peace? The Stoic path encourages us to guard our peace fiercely. Next time you face a difficult person, ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Choose wisely, and remember, your peace is yours to protect.